And welcome back to Chaos to Clarity. I'm meteorologist Bernie Rayno. It is Wednesday. We're tracking Erin, still a tropical storm, still a very weak tropical storm. As we talked about on Monday, there wouldn't be much change in its wind intensity until Thursday, until tomorrow. Here's what it looks like right now. Looks better than it did yesterday. There's still some dry air associated with this. I'll show you that here in a second. But, your little burst of convection in here on the southwestern side. This is awfully far south. That's a concern to me. We'll get to that in a second. Some quick talking points here moving forward. This is going to rapidly intensify into not only a hurricane, that'll be tomorrow night, somewhere between Thursday night, between 8 p.m. and 3, 4, 5 o'clock in the morning, somewhere in there. But then by the weekend, this is going to be a major hurricane. That's Cat 3, at least Cat 3 with maximum sustained winds of 111 miles per hour. I could see Cat 4. The only thing that would stop it is the dry air. Show you that here in a second. Now, early next week, where's Erin? East of the Bahamas. Regardless of the track, this is the huge impact here. Damaging surf, at least rough surf. It could be damaging surf if Erin gets close enough to the East Coast, and rip currents up and down the eastern seaboard all next week. It's important everybody realizes that. There's a lot of, listen, you're going to hear a lot of stuff about how Erin's a fish storm. It's out to sea. It's because all of the modeling is showing that. I'm telling you right now. This is one meteorologist that do not trust the models. I think we put too much, other meteorologists put too much faith in the models. They're a great tool, but they're fallible. And I'll tell you what, the most model busts with hurricanes are in the Atlantic basin because of the largeness of the water, and things can change quickly. Now, I want to say something. I do not believe there is a landfall in the United States. I don't believe that, and I do believe that Erin will be taking a track east of the United States. The question is how close it can get. And I still believe, especially for North Carolina, the Outer Banks, the jury's still out on this. Before we do anything, let me show you from a perspective of what's going on with Erin, water vapor loop. Let's go full string. And I'm going to zoom in a second here. So here's Erin. This is the one thing that's a little concerning. There is a lot of dry air in front of Erin, no doubt about it. And in fact, as I zoom in on this map, there's dry air that's made it into the center. You can see it right in here. It's made its way in. Now, oftentimes, it takes longer than you think to get this dry air mixed out. But what I think is going to happen is I zoom back out a little bit. As Erin goes over warmer water, and water temperatures are warm in here, and you get lessening wind shear, which I will show you, is that this drier air will get mixed out around the center, and the dry air to the north and west will continue to be pushed away from the storm, and Erin eventually creates this little pocket where it can thrive and get better organized. That's what I think is going to happen moving forward here. I think by tomorrow, this may look a lot different. Now, what I like to do, let me show you the intensification. I do want to show you that, and then we'll talk about the track here really quick. Let me show you why I think this is going to intensify. We talked about the dry air, but I also want to talk about wind shear. Now, here's where the storm is this evening. This is the American model, and you're going to concentrate on this energy. There's the American model. This is the European model. Very similar on where they have this. You see that? American, European, American, European. Look at the 200 millibar. This is high in the atmosphere. I really do like this for wind shear. Now, there's some easterly wind shear. You see the storm's in here, and you have easterly wind shear in here. And it's about 30 knots. That's a moderate wind shear. Now, it's going with the storm. It's almost like if you're taking a walk and if the wind is at your back, you move easier than if the wind was at your front. Well, that's the problem. That's the thing here. There is wind shear, but it's moving in the same direction as Erin, so it's not as detrimental. Now, if this wind shear was out of the west, that'd be game, set, match. This would get sheared apart, but it's not. Now, let's go forward. Tomorrow evening, Thursday evening, there's Erin. You can see the little red. Let me circle it. It's right in here. That's the American model. Here's European. They're pretty much the same. A little bit here and there, but look at the 200 millibar. What do you see here? You see a big upper high. and it's right underneath this. So underneath upper highs, guess what? You get no wind shear. Now you're over warmer water. This is where I think Erin can quickly get to a hurricane, assuming that dry air gets out of the way and you get that dry air out of the center. Friday evening, all right? They're American model, European, pretty much similar. Look at the winds aloft, 200 millibar, over underneath the upper high. Underneath the upper high, no wind shear. So you have no wind shear Thursday night, Friday night. How about Saturday night? Let's take a look at it again. There's the American model. There's the European. American, European, pretty much in the same spot. That is north of the Lesser Antilles and north and east of the Virgin Islands. So there it is, right in there. Let me put this on full. I forgot to do this so you could see it a little more. All right, you might be able to see it a little better here. Look at the wind shear. It is right underneath that upper high. I mean, right underneath it, right in here. And the water here is super warm, middle to upper 80s. This is where I think Erin explodes. Unless that dry air stops, I don't think so. So there it is. So underneath the 200 millibar high, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Friday, Saturday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. How about Sunday? American, European model. There it is, right here, north of Puerto Rico. Low wind shear. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. How about Monday? There it is, American, European. What is the 200 millibar? Underneath the upper high. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. It's a long time. It's a long time for a system to be over warm water and low wind shear. That's Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. 5 days. That's why this is going to a major hurricane. Maybe the dry air can maybe the dry air can delay it, but I don't think it can stop it. Now, let me show you I'll show you the track here in a second. Well, let me show you the track now. And you could see, and we'll talk more about the track coming up, you can see that we have this going to a major hurricane by the time we head into the weekend. The question is, can it get to Category 4? Category 3 is 111 or greater. Category 4 is over 130. I could see that in here. Okay, well, let me go back to something here. One thing I like to do is first thing I look at when we're even considering the track of a hurricane is can the past tell us anything? We have such a category. I mean, we have such a history of storms and exact storms that go decades that we have a pretty big database. So here's what I like to do. I took the position that Erin was at this morning, and I said, within 60 nautical miles, show me every storm within 60 nautical miles of where Erin is located this morning, of all of the storms that formed in August, and I put September in there as well. And where did they go? And I think that is useful. Now, some people think I overplay this. I just think it's such a useful graphic. So here was Erin's location right here. This was this morning. And there are 52 storms highlighted that went near Erin's location this morning. Where did they go? If you count them, 52 storms. Only 7 had, let's call, direct impacts along the East Coast, and most of them in North Carolina, but 7. One thing that is clear, I made this comment that I thought anything south of Myrtle Beach, you would not have a direct impact. Now, we've not ruled out anybody, but you could see why. I mean, history tells you no way is it going to get that. Maybe Myrtle Beach, but certainly not Charleston on South, and certainly not Florida. Right now, given where Erin's located, history says there's been none. Now, things can always happen, but I think I'm not ruling out anybody, but boy, history says no way. No way for Florida, no way for the Georgia coast, and no way for the South Carolina coast. That's what history says. Okay. Now, given that, I want to show you our iPath here. By the way, the one thing that is interesting, there's some big storms that did impact the United States here during this time. And some of those storms include the Long Island Express in 38, Isabel, Gloria, and Earl. Earl from 2010. I'll get back to Earl in a second. So there's been some big storms in Erin's location that have hit the United States and have huge impacts. But there's been 52 of them, only 7 have impacted the United States. If you do the math, 85% of the storms that are in Erin's location now during the month of August and September have moved away from the United States and not had a direct impact. That means there's only, history will tell you right now there's only a 15% chance. That's history. Let's go to the meteorology. Let me go back. I want to show you the track here. The AccuWeather iPath. This is the AccuWeather iPath right here. There it is. Let me put it full so you can see it. And we have the turn to the west and then the turn away. You will note, however, while we have the storm here, the iPath just to the west of Bermuda, we have the western edge of this all the way back here, just off the North Carolina coast. There's a reason for that. I don't think we can tighten this window on the western side yet. And here's why. I want to go this time frame here. Let me put this place so you can actually see the timing here. Oh, I'm sorry, hit that. Let me go back here. So here's the time frame. But this is the time frame that worries me. Between Saturday and Monday, because that's when all of the modeling, and I mean all of the modeling, has a north turn. The one thing I haven't seen many people do is that right. That's the one thing I think meteorologists in our field, I see this on X a lot, and some very smart meteorologists, they never question it. Is that right? They just say, yep, show you the spaghetti prots, show you this. Yeah, I think it's east, no worry. I'm not one of them. I look for problems because sometimes you can look beyond the models and find something. My worry is this. I've been doing this for 35 years. I can tell you this. The modeling for hurricanes have more errors in the Atlantic than in the Gulf of Mexico and the Caribbean. Now, I don't have any math or and it's anecdotal in my mind. I've seen huge mistakes with these storms in the Atlantic. I really have. And that's why I'm worried. Do I think this is going to make a landfall in the United States? No. But I can see it closer than what the models are showing everyone right now. And let me show you why I'm worried about that during the time here. I want to go back to the modeling here, and I want to explain what I'm worried about here. I want to go back to the 500 millibar, and I want to show you the influences on Erin. Erin's being steered by a big area of high pressure, and I want to go right to this time frame on Sunday. So here we go. This is Erin. This is the American model. This is the European model. American, European. European's the most accurate model, by the way. So there's Erin. And what do you see here? There's high pressure here, high pressure here. So what you do is you have a little dip in the jet stream. You can see it right in here. The thought is that this dip in the jet stream right in here will pull Erin northward. This is 75 degrees west, even to the east of 75. That's the modeling right now. That's Sunday evening. Let's go to Monday afternoon. There's European. Here's the GFS. European, GFS. Now, the one thing is that you'll notice that the GFS is a lot weaker and farther east with this high pressure system aloft. And that's why it's showing more of a northerly push. The European that has that high here. A little stronger over Bermuda, and that means you have more of an easterly flow that would take this farther to the west before turning to the north. And here's the other thing that does concern me. You also have this dip in the jet stream in here. But when you look at that Monday evening and Monday night, look at the European, watch the height line here. 588. It's lifting, it's starting to leave in here. Even the GFS shows it. It's leaving Monday into Tuesday. So my question is, does this dip in the jet stream, is it strong enough? And is this high weak enough? Is this high weak enough and this trough strong enough to make that northerly turn? Or is this high stronger over Bermuda and this trough starts to lift, that instead of going like this, it continues on a west to northwest track for a time until you have this dip in the jet stream, which will then come into the northeast as we get into Monday and Tuesday, and then that steers it out to sea. The question is this still moving to the west-northwest before this trough comes in to steer it? Anybody ask that question? I'm certainly worried about it. And that's why, when you look at our iPath, we have the western edge this far west. I don't think you can rule that out yet. I really can't. And I'm telling you, today's Wednesday, right? Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So you're 4 to 5 days before this critical turn. You really think the models have a great handle on this? Not yet. Not yet. And that's the concern I have. It's too early to just say, no problem, Erin. This is well to the east. Yeah, we're going to have some rough surf and some wind. We're going to have some rough surf and some rip currents, but there won't be any rain or wind anywhere along the East Coast. I'm not ready to say that yet. Not for the Outer Banks of North Carolina. Again, I am not predicting a landfall. I don't think there will be, but I think you still have to watch this closely on the Outer Banks of North Carolina. This can get closer than you think. In fact, one storm that I did want to bring up here, because I saw this and I thought it was interesting, was a storm back in 2010. This was Earl. Hurricane Earl 2010. And it's almost at the same spot as Erin. And again, did it make a landfall? No, it did not. But you notice the track. We have Erin's track like this, right? Earl, the move to the north was just delayed enough that it turned it. Now, do I believe that Earl if Earl came close to North Carolina, would it continue north? No, it would really then move out. I don't think we'll see this at all. There's too many westerlies for that. But something closer to the east Outer Banks of North Carolina, I don't think you can rule that out yet. It's too early for that. Now, we haven't ruled out anybody yet. Because here's why. It is very unlikely Florida gets a direct impact. Just history says no. But I want to see this turn north. When it makes this turn north, Sunday into Monday, if there's any turn north, to the west-northwest, even if it's west-northwest, Florida's out of the game. Again, I mean, I think it's very unlikely. I just hesitate saying Florida, no problems, don't worry about it yet, because I want to make sure this takes a north turn during the weekend. Everything I look at says it does, but hey, listen, I've done this long enough to know don't ever say there's no way. I would never say that, not this early in the game. I wanted to show you this. I made this up the other day. Today I made this up. So, given everything I'm looking at now, I like this graphic. Given historical tracks and everything I'm looking at now, there's a 70% chance in my mind of zero direct impacts, no direct impacts for the U.S. coast right now, 70%. Based on history and being a little nervous until I see that turn. Now, again, you're going to have rough surf and maybe damaging surf along the East Coast and rip currents next week regardless. And if you would get a track like Earl, it would be damaging along the North Carolina coast because it would be close enough that you can get that. So, But I want to give you an idea because everybody says, well, let's out to sea. Let's talk about probability. I think at this point it's 70%. But if it takes that north turn, that all the models are showing Sunday into Monday, then it's like 100% because it would be too far east, way too far east, even in the Outer Banks of North Carolina. So that's where I'm at right now. But I do want to stress, regardless of the track, this is going to be a powerful hurricane off the east coast of the United States. That could move a lot of water. And that means even though it's well east, you can have problems with very rough surf, if not damaging surf, and rip currents. It is also important to note that we are away from the full moon, but still that's something to watch. Let's keep an eye on it. You know I will. I'll leave you with this. This is the iPath. Any questions, comments, follow me on X. I'm at AccuRayno. And I appreciate you taking the time out, even if you hate the video and rip me in the chat. I appreciate you taking the time out to watch it. I really do. Thanks.